do the thing first?
Hello, everybody. This is Puppetine. Yes, I know. Starring in the show. Not just on the sidelines. Not the sidekick anymore. That's Venkman's job. Say hi, Venkman.
Hi, Venkman.
Why would you do that? That's not acceptable. Actually, it's perfectly acceptable. The point of today's video is, well, if you were watching the Extreme movie show, we were talking about Wonder Woman 1984. This movie, both Venkman and I enjoyed heavily. While we had people like Rob who didn't enjoy it, there are some people online that are really just, they really seem to hate it, don't they, Venkman?
They do. And I'll just say this has Wonder Woman is just the tip of it. It's started back with Game of Thrones. Probably even before that. There's, as far as it comes to the hate culture, there are people who we obviously know that if you're a YouTuber and you put out 50 videos saying how you hate this thing, you're doing it for the clickbait, you're doing it for the click the views. I mean, maybe you actually don't like it, or maybe you're just doing it because you know people are gonna click to it. People love drama channels. No offense to some of the people who may not be a drama person, but after a while you kind of realize if you're negative about everything, you don't show any positive stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like disliking something, but if you're disliking something just for ulterior motives, obviously YouTubers are here just basically this, hey, we want you to watch us so I can make money off of you.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who just seem to hate things. And it started years ago where people would just get on and anything new that came out, even if there was something good to it, they just found a reason to hate it. I've talked about this with England team before, and I know Pixel has too, about how people just hate the new Star Wars parks for no good reason.
Wait, did you say you talked with yourself about it before?
No.
You just said Engleteen. You are Engleteen, aren't you?
No, I'm Puppetine. Minor differences. Why do you think you can see us at the same time?
Astral projection. I don't know. After image techniques. I don't know.
It's
fancy editing.
Very, very careful. But let's get on with the show. 1 second. I'm going to check the comments. Hello to Zach. How do you do? We see Tillium there. Good to see you too, buddy. Let's see, the blue checkmark weirdos and the Comicsgate social politics behind every rock crowd both hate it. Of course they do. They hate it just because they can. And as we've talked about, there are some things in it that are some themes, as Rob would say. Some of the guys were just catcalling at every corner, and there was a little black girl that people will say, oh, that's just them appealing to the black community. No. The movie is still fine. We both can recommend it. Right, Venkman?
Am I being paid to say yes? Just kidding. No, I enjoyed the movie. Yes, every movie there is faults. But as I pointed out, if you already have a concept of how the character is supposed to be or movie is supposed to be, it's never going to live up to your expectations.
Yep. In our review earlier, we had let me see. Where's my phone? There we go. Yep. Pixel said that he didn't expect to like it, but he did. That shows you sometimes, even with negative thoughts in minds, a movie can change how you think of it. We got the lady up here. Now.
Watch those hands, bro.
What's... Oh, no. Don't worry. You can see it. How about we get to what I really want to do? We're going to go into the Twitterverse. I know it's a scary landscape out there. And we're going to actually read some of the hate out there. Do you think we can handle that, Bankman?
Well, I'm definitely sure you could get a handle on this. But
Okay.
Twitter in general, social media, you're going to
Uh-huh.
come across people who just say things because they have an ethnicity. Uh, and there's also people who just don't like to stand out. They prefer to be sheep. They've been raised that way. Even adults.
Yeah, so
And
this
I say adults, I'm saying people in their 60s, even in their 50s. It's not a new thing. Do you want to be joined of the cool crowd? And some people they're that shallow, or they're that. I mean, not spineless, where they just bred rather instead of sticking out, they go along with everything. So
Yep. So let's actually get into the meat of the show. Alrighty.
the meat and potatoes, sir.
There we go. All right. Wait, that's actually from the team for it. So we need to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's just showing it's on the official blue check Wonder Woman film.
Okay.
All right. All right. Dominique Demare is talking about how the theater's in lockdown. We can't celebrate Christmas with our family as we're all in confinement by our provincial government. Cherry on the top, Wonder Woman 1940 is not even offered in streaming services in Canada. So that's understandable. They just, you can't watch. Yeah, they don't have options to it. But all right there. Marvel fanboys are out in force in the dirty Rotten Tomatoes. I suppose it can't be remedied by regarding getting authentic and honest reviews, but it's a sad indictment of recent society in general, where people take precious moments from their daily lives to dedicate to sensitivity. Basically, this person thinks that the Marvel fanboys are why, because if people weren't paying attention, Rotten Tomatoes is given the score dropped dramatically within the first 24 hours the film was released.
This is also worth talking about because it's not really Marvel fanboys that are complaining. It's everybody else. If you go around, this is actually not what I expected. Okay, let's go down a little bit more.
I mean, there are some positive, I mean, like, I wouldn't say this is really negative. The next one, it says, from SA, it says, I'd give this a 68%. Only good DC movies past decade have been Wonder Woman, first one, and Christian Bale, Dark Knights. The DC TV shows are better than the movies now. I don't know about that. Supergirl is kind of horrible.
Well. Did you enjoy Batwoman more than Wonder Woman?
No.
Okay, there you go. So no, clearly not.
All right. Horizon Gaming, save your money. As this movie is a 5 to 10, main villain is human. Story is trying to recycle the first one, but turns into a boring, predictable mess. I would love a refund on my $30.
Okay, wait a minute.
He's basically touching on the romance.
I don't even know how that's.
I don't know
it's
either.
Not the same at all. Was he watching the same movie we were?
I don't know. I wondered about a lot of people.
Well, how do you feel about the director wanting Diana to use her voice, not her fists, to solve problems?
When she's going against humans, she doesn't really kick the crap out of humans.
No. Yeah, the only person who did was Barbara.
Yeah.
All right, and okay, we are going to move on down.
The worst had to watch the first one. Forgot how terrible this movie was. Absolutely terrible. The writers should be got cut 2 hours out. Please never use these writers again. So bad. So embarrassing for DC to have a label on this. Wow. This person maybe doesn't realize that Jeff Johns actually wrote part of the script. We don't know. He's credited as being a scriptwriter along with the director.
Oh,
and someone else.
But let's take a second. You find the next tweet that we're going to do, and I'm going to read some comments, okay?
Go ahead.
All right. Tilliam saying that he enjoyed both the reviews on the movie. He has also heard some negatives on it as well. Okay. I might not have enjoyed the Disney sequel trilogy, but I did tweet where I used the series I enjoyed in each episode for Rogue One and Solo. Those were definitely better movies than the sequel trilogy. Zach is saying that Stargirl is the only show that he'd put alongside the movies. I haven't seen Stargirl. Have you?
Stargirl was really great. It raises the bar as far as comic book to live action is done. They really rarely changed anything from the comics, except for a few things, but not too much. Jeff Johns wrote all 14 issues. Great story. It's inspirational for teenagers, you know, and it's JSA, dude.
Well, I need to get to it then.
The only, I'll only say this about that Stargirl. The difference in the show and the comics is that the JSA is we're all killed in the first episode. So supposedly.
Well, that's always nice and fun. Don't you just love random death? Pulling up in Naruto movie. What?
So I was just, some of these comments. I'm looking at these like, watch Wonder Woman 1984, and I witnessed rape in a weird way. What the heck is with some of these comments?
Well, okay. We're going to touch on this topic. So I have seen comments like this all day, even on my Twitter feed, where people are claiming that Diana raped the guy that Steve was possessing.
Oh yeah.
Because the guy was unconscious, but Steve was conscious. Thus, the body was conscious, and currently at that time, it was his body. So it's not really rape. Now, move on down.
There's some positive stuff, you know. I always love you, Diana. Some touching things.
That's some pretty art.
Delete scene. Then we got another person who wants Wonder Woman to sleep with them. K-Log.
That's one way to put it. Zach is also saying people are hating on Jeff Johns for this flick, but really, Johns is the only person that most DC heroes are only reason, that most DC heroes are popular enough for movies in the first place. Okay. Do you have our next tweet?
Next tweet. Well, this is actually a positive.
Oh, okay. Good. We needed some positive.
Along with the Wonder Woman 94 positive box office numbers, WB announced that Wonder Woman 3 is a done deal. Well, we already knew by doing the second one they were going to do a 3. They always do trilogies.
There can be at least 3.
All right. Oh, here's some photo here.
What? Okay, here we go.
From the week, Wonder Woman 1984 is shockingly regressive.
All right, let's get through this. Next photo.
The warped morality of Wonder Woman 1984. I read a film about. Okay.
This is
obviously they're talking about the whole thing with Steve Trevor. Yep.
Did Wonder Woman just rape a guy in Wonder Woman 1984? Yep. All right. Last one, I guess, because this is... All right. Is Wonder Woman the first Me Too superhero movie? Oh, no.
Yeah. And the thing is, it wasn't, though.
No. I feel like... Oh. We have Dalton joining us. Howdy. How do you do? We are just moving right along, talking about some of the less savory comments on Wonder Woman. Now, what's next?
I'm going through right now. There's other people asking why is receiving so much hate. That was good. I really disagree with all the hate and disdain that's coming off of this movie. I enjoyed it in the theater and we'll go again. Thought it was fun.
Listen, I don't know why it's not showing up as much as it was before. When I went on Twitter today, all I would see is people bashing on this film.
Another one.
The only reason I didn't pull up my Twitter feed is because these fingers aren't that easy to use. No. No.
Just because people are
No.
excited for a film based on how good the first one was, watch it doesn't make the film good. You must have some pretty low expectations if you think this film was anywhere near worthy of being a Wonder Woman film.
Wow. That's well, like we said earlier, I at least enjoyed it more than the first film, and I know you still enjoyed the first film more than this one, but you still like this one.
It was weird. I wonder if Twitter got rid of a lot of the negative ones because I keep seeing all positive more than I see negative. Because I wonder if these are bot counts. There are people that are saying they hate it. But then again, I'm trying to find it. Yeah, there's.
I just posted the link. Anybody who wants to join, you can join in. We can have a conversation. And that's what most of these streams are. Just come on in. We'll chat a little bit. And we just want to get our thoughts out there. Oh, there is an authenticator. 1 second, I'm authenticating. We are authenticated. Hello, Dalton.
Hello, and I will be the judge of that. Thank you very much. It is my job. Self-appointed, but it's still my job. Damn you.
Well, I was just saying your presence has authenticated this stream.
It will. But anyway, moving on.
Well, how much have you been listening to, Dalton?
I just caught like the last 5 minutes because I was getting done with my stream with the Brainstorm of Pop Culture over on Podcast of the Storm. Everyone hurry over there and go subscribe. Shameless shill over. But yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 is such an interesting conversation because it's so like, okay, the conversation around it is so conflicted, but honestly, and I might be the minority opinion here, I like the movie and I think it's good. I think it's still better than anything that Zack Snyder had his hands on in the DCEU thus far. But I do understand some of the flaws and some of the criticism people have, because I found the movie to be extremely inconsistent and kind of patchworked out of 3 different movies that were all trying to kind of vie for space. Which isn't to say that those 3 movies that were trying to fight for space weren't each individually good. It's just the movie was extremely inconsistent and probably could have used a few more passes over on the script side of things, as far as I was concerned. But yeah,
I can see where you would say that, but still, that's not hating on it. That's not like Rob saying it's like the new Catwoman. That's ridiculous.
Did Rob say that?
He did indeed.
Okay, well, in Rob's defense, and I very rarely get a chance to say those words, but in Rob's defense, he doesn't like most superhero movies in general. So
I know.
His threshold for what constitutes a good superhero movie is much, much higher, and his threshold for what constitutes a bad superhero movie is much, much lower than arguably both of those should be. Therefore, take his, and also he tends to be the Simon Cowell to Anglintine's Paula Abdul when they're reviewing movies. So there.
That is fair. All right. What do we have here? We have. I can't read that name. I'm sorry. My eyes are.
Which one? The top. It's Lauren Chen, who is a conservative blogger. I don't know if she works for the Blaze or not, but
Okay.
She didn't like it. So,
Said it's meh?
But yeah, says it's meh. But then she says immediately she says like, oh yeah, but Gal Gadot looks always hot as always. And then we get, if Zach's still here, if he's still watching it, he says as amazing as great.
Yep, amazing. I'm not sure.
And then I don't. Then someone, I guess, replied about it. He basically said, like, you're so wrong on this, and it hurts me on a spiritual level. I worry for your soul. I don't know if it's someone he knows, but
I don't know either.
we got another person make comments saying, when Pedro basically Pascal, Maxwell Lord asked everyone to make a wish. I wish for the movie to be over. I love Gail, but even she couldn't save this cringe fest.
Okay. That's just okay. Again, I think the script has major flaws and the movie is extremely patchworky and inconsistent, but cringy, I wouldn't go that far. Some of the CGI left a little bit to be desired here and there, but that seems to be par for the course for all the DC movies, so I just kind of left that alone. Honestly, I think Maxwell Lord's segment of the movie is probably the strongest bit. I think they could have cut Cheetah out of the movie almost entirely and focused more on him as a singular villain, and the movie would have been better. Or they could have set up Cheetah as to be the villain in the next movie and left it ambiguous whether she kept her powers or not.
Yeah, I think that there's just it wasn't a cringe fest like that, and you're right. The CGI, some of it was very rough, but bad CGI doesn't make a movie bad. I still watch the classic Spider-Man where they have a mannequin Spider-Man that Mary Jane's holding on to and swing, but you can tell that's not a person there.
Yeah, I still enjoy League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and the CGI there was just I don't even know what PS1 graphics they pulled that movie out of, but yeah, oof.
Yeah, but the CGI doesn't make a movie, not at all.
No, it doesn't.
Visualization.
The thing I think that matters most is having a consistent and worthwhile aesthetic. If you have a consistent and worthwhile aesthetic, you can get away with crap CGI from time to time.
And we've talked about this. The movie did need some touching up here and there, but we still enjoyed it. Yeah, you said, you felt like it was 3 different movies, but you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
you enjoyed
each of those three movies that were kind of vying for attention were decent movies, and I would watch all 3 of them probably if they were left to their own devices. But it was just the inconsistent mixing of them together that bugged me.
I would say it's not even the CG that bothered me. The biggest thing, and even Rob pointed out in our review we just did like an hour ago, music. There's no 80s music. None. Captain Marvel had freaking tons of 90s music. Why? If you're 84, you're promoting 84. Where was all the Ghostbuster stuff? No.
I should have known that is exactly where he was going to go. But yeah. That being said, both Wonder Woman movies have successfully kicked Captain Marvel's ass as far as quality female heroes goes. And
that's not a hard competition, dog.
No,
not at all.
Granted, but for as much as these people seem to be dunking on Wonder Woman 1984, if I could erase Captain Marvel from existence by watching Wonder Woman 1984 100 times in a row, that's not even a contest. I would do that in a heartbeat.
And we are joined by a wild Zach. He has appeared. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Going good. We are just well, you are here. You've discussed it.
Zach, are you on here to play devil's advocate and just say you hated the film?
No, not at all. I love the film. I just watched it a few hours ago, and I was telling a friend of mine I went in looking for wokeness or kind of aware, like if there would be problems in it, because people were like, I think it was, I don't know if it was Pedro Pascal or if it was the director Patty Jenkins who said they modeled Maxwell Lord off of Trump. They said that. I think one of them said that.
Did they actually say that?
It was one of them. I don't know if it was one of them or both of them. I'm trying to look it up and find it right now.
Okay, because it was my understanding that was something the critics made up.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it could be too. Yeah, but I mean, when I went in there to like watch it for the first time, I mean, there were some things like, okay, Maxwell Lord had the weird, goofy looking hair, but like, I just didn't really get any.
Yeah, and
TDS from the film at all. I didn't see.
Yeah, and what's more, they make Maxwell Lord, especially in the end of the movie, very, very sympathetic.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
they show him as being very competent, and even the fact that he was smart enough to think of a outside of the box wish to take advantage of the Dreamstone shows him as being very intelligent. So if they were going for a Trump allegory, it's the most sympathetic Trump allegory I've seen in literally the 4 years that Trump has been president, like, the whole way through.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
I have to agree, because as we've watched, I was waiting. I was waiting for that moment that, okay, where is he going to be Trump? When is he going to be Trump? He never was Trump. He was always human. He had that greedy desire, obviously, but
He was
at the
a
end,
bit
he came
smarmy,
through.
but it was kind of a Jack Sparrow kind of smarmy of like he's kind of the asshole that everybody roots for, almost like I said, like a Jack Sparrow or a Rick Sanchez or one of those type of characters.
There's also I follow Wep on Twitter. He was saying that it was going to suffer from TDS. I do not see it at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
I think Wep might be a little bit too inside the proverbial baseball there. And this is the problem. A lot of the people that are saying this movie has Trump derangement syndrome are people that are ostensibly on our side in the anti-SGW crowd, but they're so devoted to it that they're, to borrow a phrase from Anglantine, they're chasing ghosts. And in this case, it's definitely a chasing ghost thing. Because again, if this were a Trump allegory, do you honestly think that Maxwell Lord would have been as sympathetic as he was or as human as he was? No, if this were a Trump allegory, he would have been a foaming at the mouth stereotype, like something out of The Simpsons when they parodied Trump, or Family Guy when they parodied Trump, in like 5 seconds. He would have been even more over the top than Michael Shannon's Zod or Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor if they were genuinely going for a Trump allegory. I don't think they were.
Well, I'm glad you decided to quote me, or at least part of me, and we're still debating that topic. But I was going to say, I listened to a bit after we recorded that review of another stream, and I heard the quote that this movie is a superhero movie without an actual superhero in it. Like I think they said Captain Marvel, but that's a load of bull.
That's I call bullshit.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I am probably of the four of us sitting here the most hard on this movie, and yet I'm not seeing any valid criticisms occurring from these people that we're discussing.
But I've also noticed that it's not just like the Comicsgate kind of crowd that most people would think. It's also the SJWs. As we pointed out, there's a whole controversy going around that Wonder Woman raped a guy. No, she didn't. We watched the movie. Clearly, Steve Trevor, who was owning that body at that moment, did not want it.
Yeah, and the guy who was the original owner of the body was
not there,
out of order at the moment.
He was checked out. He was off in the ether or something.
Yeah, he didn't. He was not engaged with at any point in that.
And let me tell you, I bet he wished that he was.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Like, being lovingly banged by Diana Prince as Wonder Woman. Is there a single heterosexual male on the planet that wouldn't consent to that under the right circumstances?
I do not know.
And even quite a few gay ones would probably at least want to give the other team a try for this one. Wonder Woman, for fuck's sake.
It would have been funny if they would have went the route where like the bed's broke, or like he's sore, he can't walk as fast because she hurt him.
Well, I mean,
the guy gets back in his body. Oh man, I'm hurting all over. What happened?
Do you guys remember there was a movie back in the early 2000s or earlier, lady, and I'm not sure it was Uma Thurman, or Captain Heigl. But
You're talking about My Superhero Ex-Girlfriend?
yes. Do you remember the tropes they did? They broke the bed and all that stuff, and just like, yeah.
Went through the wall.
Well, I mean, we as comic book fans have been having this discussion for decades. You know, how would Superman and Lois Lane ever be together? Because he would, even if he were as gentle as he possibly could be, when he let go, when he had
This conversation is getting
when he had his moment, he would blow like a shotgun to her back.
Oh no! This is all kind of wrong.
All right. Changing subjects though. Apart from all this,
we have a next tweet.
The next tweet. All right. Well, that person did follow up saying they're happy to see Linda Carter's cameo in the mid credits scene.
Oh,
which
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was cool. I like that.
And they nodded
That's
that
Wonder Woman right
well, they nodded. This is kind of a spoiler because people haven't seen this. She's the strongest Amazonian.
I like the way they did that. That's kind of cool because you have Gal Gadot. She's the new Wonder Woman, but then it also acknowledges, hey, Linda Carter's here. You know, because for a lot of people, she is. I think I even commented on Brain's Twitter something about it. Like he likes Linda Carter. Engeltine likes Linda Carter.
I like Linda Carter. Exactly.
You like Linda Carter? Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you're here in the stream. How silly of me. So, but I thought that was handled really cleverly, among other things. It's like RDV said, there's every movie has its flaws, and this one is not an exception. There's flaws in it, but I think for the most part, this was an enjoyable movie. I would go see it again. I really liked it.
Honestly, with regards to the Linda Carter thing, Grace Randolph had a really interesting idea about this in one of her recent videos, and I can't help but agree. Now that they've established that Linda Carter's character does exist and that she's one of the greatest of the Amazon warriors in universe and everything, I want to see her come back in Wonder Woman 3, because then we could get Wonder Woman tag teaming with Wonder Woman, and that would just make the fandom universe explode.
Yes, it would make the fandom universe explode. Sadly, I don't think that would happen because Linda Carter, while we do love her and we are glad that she made a cameo, I doubt that the execs are thinking, okay, let's put this.
Well, no, but
yeah.
I mean, Grace Randolph has connections in the industry, so if she's thinking it, maybe she could pass that along to, somebody at DC who she knows, and I would be entirely in favor of that. And if we as the fans get that idea going and one of the execs picks it up, they'll go, oh, wait, crap, we could make, especially given the mixed reaction to Wonder Woman 1984, the executives might be looking for whatever next big thing is going to make the fans go wild so that they can kind of live down the controversy, because that's how executives think. So executives, if you want every Wonder Woman fan in the universe to explode from sheer happiness, Wonder Woman tag team. Enough said.
Well, as
I just want to say phrasing.
Well, yeah.
As Alfred Hitchcock's long lost son, I also have connections, so maybe I should throw that along the line. See if I can make some magic.
If you're passing hints to executives, I would just like to say, just sneak in some Donna Troy or some Cassie some Wonder Girl maybe in there. That would be Donna Troy.
Well, they're planning on making an Amazon TV show set on Themyscira, so I'm assuming we'll get some Donna Troy and.
Instead, they're doing another Wonder Girl. I tried saying no Donna Troy, but they were like, no.
That's right. They're doing the new girl, right? The new the Brazilian girl.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have another tweet for us, Finkman?
I always have another tweet for you. I'm just waiting for you guys to shut up.
Okay, give it. Sorry.
Proceed, Vector.
All right, it's right on the screen for you. You can look. These new glasses.
You know what my eyes are made out of? It's not easy seeing.
Yeah, and I have literal optic nerve damage, so make with the reading.
All right.
Our narrator.
All right, we got people saying it's terrible. One guy is saying it's Samuel Trauman. It's terrible. Fire the director and the writers. Blah blah blah. And then there's people who are saying they loved it and they love the fact that even though they prefer the first one, they love that she's powerful and unapologetically feminine. Where some people would say, "Oh yeah, this is a feminist movie." Well, it's about a woman.
Yeah.
It's like when people,
I saw somebody
Wow.
comment that. Somebody said
Woman-
this movie was too female, too girly. I was like, it's
It's
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman, you absolute bungler.
I'm sorry. Did you think you were watching Iron Man or something?
There was too much fee to this male.
Right?
That's actually kind of funny because the
Iron,
periodic
Iron.
table abbreviation for iron is
That's why I said it, Dalton.
Very
that's
clever.
good.
Very clever.
Hey, we're
All
getting sloppy script like Spider-Man 3, carrot villains like Batman Forever. And the guy replies, I thought Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones outperformed everyone in that movie. Batman and Robin, however, that was bad.
Okay. I'm calling such bullshit on this because for as bad as Batman and Robin is, my least favorite iteration of a Batman villain in any of those movies is Jim Carrey as Edward Nygma because they
And-
just completely they turned the Riddler into the Joker,
Yeah.
and the Joker's great and everything, but the Joker and the Riddler are not the same character. Please stop making this
He
mistake.
could have toned it down a little bit, but
I
he's
want to throw a loose connection into as far as Wonder Woman 3. I think they went back and kind of looked at Batman Forever as far as the Jim Carrey thing with a plot. I want to put my head into everybody's TV so I can, all that crap.
Mm.
This was the same plot in here too, but he wanted to basically. Sorry, people. This is a spoiler for your show, so it's for the few people that are watching us. Everyone in the panel, probably. But
we're doing our best to keep spoilers out of it, but sometimes
yes. So basically, yes, Maxwell Lord. He needs everybody to make wish. So he wants to be everybody. He gets in front of the screen, which gets controlled by satellites and beams in every single TV around. That way, they see him and they make a wish, and it basically he gets more. They create their more chaos. He gets healed by every wish they make. Heals his body.
He basically becomes a god, or potentially could.
Yes. But it's the opposite of Jim Carrey though. Jim Carrey ended up going mental and being deformed as far as Riddler, where this guy just simply revokes his wish.
Yeah. Well,
Motivation.
because the lasso of truth
He had a
shows
redemption.
him
Yeah.
that shows him his past, and then it shows him his son. He sees his son, and he's like, "Oh crap! I gotta go!" And he revokes his wish, which I don't know.
By the way, I was not expecting a Wonder Woman movie to give me such a wonderfully depicted father representation kind of redemption arc. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
It was done very well, I think.
Yeah, that was nice. And speaking of reasons why Maxwell Lord is most definitely not a Trump allegory.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, Bankman, give us another.
G. Collins coming in and saying the mall scene was utter crap and easily could have been cut from the film. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, I'm sure, had something to do with the garbage script as well.
Well,
Wow.
I have to say,
first of all,
about it, whenever we were talking with Rob, I said that too. But then I thought about it. It is absolutely necessary because of Wonder Woman. They are able to save the artifacts, which leads to the Wish Stone, whatever it's called.
The Dream Stone.
The Dream. I thought that was just a joke name, but
no. It's called the Dream Stone, and this is one of the areas where I'm gonna comic book geek the shit out of this.
Okay.
The Dream Stone is actually originally from the Sandman, and I'm kind of annoyed that they tweaked its origins and things so much.
Is it really?
Huh. But that being said, if the Dream Stone exists in the DCEU, then somewhere Dream
Sandman.
of the Endless also exists, and I am entirely in favor of that. So have at it then.
I like that. Well,
Mr. Sandman.
Bring us a dream.
Before we
Oh,
jump
yeah.
in further, I want to address the person who was clacking like a monkey on a keyboard.
Not me. Look at my hands.
I know your hands are
They
so
can't be me.
soft. So
I have very
if you're gonna
soft
type,
hands.
if you're gonna type, mute yourself, please. Just a pet peeve. Okay. The mall scene. I thought it was important because up at this point, you gotta remember this just takes place before Justice League. This is basically a throwback. This is it's been how many years? It's the 80s. It's been like 40 years or probably 50 or 60 because World War One, because it went that far. My point is that up at this point, she doesn't really perform heroics as much. She's not a public figure. She just basically kind of like the Blur in Smallville would run in, save someone, and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the record, Venkman, it was more like 60 or 70 years because World War One was like 1918 through 1922, I believe. I might be wrong.
But the point stays the same. The
Yeah.
point stays the same.
Yeah, I know. Just
This whole attack on the Make-A-Wish Foundation, really? You hate kids that are dying that much? Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
you don't
understand the Make-A-Wish thing.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't even notice the Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
I think maybe the little girl who winked at Wonder Woman in the mall scene might have been.
I will say this: I was upset the fact that she got in the way. I'm like, stupid kid. Where's the parent? Why isn't the parent grabbing the kid? There's always every hero movie is like the hero has to save the kid because the parents can't parent their kid. They can't catch their kid.
Well, because for one thing, oftentimes kids are in dangerous situations in these movies that require them to be saved by someone with superhuman powers.
But
for another, because
kids are just retarded at that age. And I don't mean as far as a derogatory. I'm just saying it's just they are not smart.
Their brain is not fully developed.
They are focused like, ooh, shiny girl and like powerful girl. Hey, how's it going? You want to be my friend? I'm like, I'm in the middle of a gunfight here.
it's not like Diana would say no to the girl, and I mean that was the only place in the movie where I'm like, did it have to be a little girl? Honestly, if we're really going to be progressive in the way that word is supposed to mean, honestly, I like the idea of a little boy idealizing Wonder Woman because I mean, why wouldn't you? To force the point by making it a little girl kind of undercuts the supposed equality of the whole thing. Like,
so you want inclusion in there?
Well, like we said, like we've said before, this movie, while men should be able to enjoy it too, it is targeted towards
women, and that's fair enough. I'm just annoyed that for all the talk of diversity and inclusion and progressiveness and all that, this, that, and the other, when it comes down to maybe women should share the spotlight with men on occasion, all of a sudden all that goes out the window, and we want our pro-women spaces and leave us alone.
Well, yeah, I can see that. Okay, Bankman, give us our next one.
All right. Let's go here next. From Doug. The intro was a nice memory lane, but the whole story was, gag me with a spoon. Oh, we'll use a plunger.
I disagree. The story, we discussed this before. It is a lot like a plot that would be on an episode of the classic Wonder Woman show. And I loved that. I loved that. It was very fun. This isn't a movie to make you feel heavy and down.
It's funny because for as much as these people, and I can almost guarantee it's the same people complaining about how grimdark the Snyderverse was and how overly self-serious the Snyderverse was. Now they've got sort of the other extreme, and they're complaining, like
Yeah.
Zack Snyder is too grimdark and too self-serious, but don't you dare be cartoony and over the top like an '80s movie, because that's wrong for some reason. Even though Shazam was literally the exact same shit, because it was literally superhero version of Big.
Well, my
Yeah.
biggest complaint with this Monster movie, is not really. I mean, the music. Yes, they should have had more music, but I see this a lot of people are talking about. So they're comparing it to the animated movies, the DC movies, where Wonder Woman truly is a badass. But it seems that she's in, like they're fighting against like the parademons. She's just going to town, just having fun, ripping them in half, their bare hands, cutting them. She's like just going full like Red Sonja, just murdering them, having fun.
Kid on Christmas.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But like I pointed out in the stream with Robin and Pixel Eye, basically this is not aimed for. I mean, I'm not saying it's aimed because I'm a guy. I want to see action scenes. There are girls who like that too. They don't like the girly stuff. They like the guy stuff. This is aimed towards little kids. As far as this is, not really little kids, I'd say, but they're keeping it PG. They're not trying to amp it up as far as the violence. They learned. I think they're hesitantly pulling back because they saw with Justice League how dark that was and everything. People didn't like it, so they're trying to get more positive. They're trying to make her the Superman because Superman was dark too as well. So unless they make another Superman movie, and if they do, I'd be shocked if they don't try to make it like as campy as Shazam was, because Shazam worked out pretty good. People like that. So Wonder Woman has to be positive.
And I think too, most people forget that one of Patty Jenkins's biggest influences on the first one, and she confirmed this, was the Richard Donner Superman movies. So
I read that earlier today.
Well,
it makes sense that given more creative freedom in the sequel, she would try to steer into that more. Now, granted, I think personally that might have been one of the mistakes in the movie. I think maybe Patty Jenkins being given creative freedom and not having her co-writer that she had in the first movie might have given her a little bit of George Lucas syndrome, where nobody was willing to tell her no on certain things, and that might be why it's as inconsistent as much in need of an editor as it is. But being that as it may, it makes perfect sense and is perfectly consistent for her to be like, oh, I wanted to make Wonder Woman the new Richard Donner Superman, so now that I have more creative control, I'm going to steer more into the Richard Donner Superman type stuff. That makes total sense.
All right. Before we go to our next tweet, Tillium is saying, I think it is nice that Zack Snyder wasn't connected to this one, even though I haven't seen it. And then he says that Big is a copycat of Shazam, just minus the superpowers.
Well, Zack Snyder was listed as a producer, I think, on this. He and his wife were, I think, in the opening credits, they were executive producers. I think. I think they were. I'd have to go back and see. But yeah, Big does. I agree. Big and Shazam, they're very similar. But Shazam was really, really good. It kind of
which is why it made sense for Shazam to kind of take that and amp it up and basically make superhero version of Big.
Right.
And Shazam is a Christmas movie. So
it is a Christmas movie.
Honestly, one of the stupidest decisions DC has ever made is not releasing Shazam on Christmas. That it would have become a airsats Christmas classic in the vein of like Elf if they had released it at Christmas like they should have.
Yeah.
And it probably would have made a bunch more money too. So yay, money is good and all.
Money is good. All right, Bankman, hit us.
I can't hear you. I would though.
Don't worry, I'm soft. I can take it.
Chris Pizik. They did an entire movie showing chaos destruction, and then all of a sudden, it's all better with no consequences. What? Because
it needed to have no consequences because it was a prequel, and if they had left the consequences there, it would have fricked around with the timeline in an incomprehensible way, and also would have created a quasi-godling in the form of Max Lord.
I
If
want
he
to
had
put.
actually
Hey, but the
absorbed
deal
the
was-
energy from all the people wishing, it basically would have been like Desiree from Danny Phantom, how she became more powerful every time someone made a wish.
It made sense. It was
That
written.
was-
It was written like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Or a comic book itself. I mean, by him renouncing his wish, it means he's no longer the Dreamstone. That means it cancels out everybody else's wishes. You know.
Well, no, I don't.
Except for
that,
Cheetah, because she didn't
everybody else
renounce her.
had to.
Well, yeah. Well,
That's true. But I think Patty said Cheetah could return for the third movie.
well, actually, no. She didn't renounce hers, but if you notice, she was back to human.
She did go back to human. That's true.
That's what that I was upset about that because I was like, dude, she
Well,
needs.
you know why? You know why? Because every wish was pretty much renounced. All the power that went into making her into Cheetah, gone. So
I don't
she
think
still
so.
wanted
I
to be
think
Cheetah.
I think it's more likely that
Well,
she can choose in the same way that Diana can conceal herself as Wonder Woman or not. Cheetah might be able to shapeshift back and forth.
you know what?
I don't think so, but we'll have
The
to
biggest,
wait.
the biggest thing that wrong with that is using the Dreamstone to turn her into Cheetah. She should have found something like on a dig and something, and
It should have been
I know.
it should have been a different artifact.
Yeah.
I actually just, well, not that recently, but pretty recently, read the first volume of Wonder Woman 77. And that's, in fact, exactly what happened. There was an artifact that...
It cursed her.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a curse. She wanted it. She wanted to become...
Well, but it was also a curse. It's one of those monkey
She embraced
it.
situations.
Okay, fine. An embraced curse. A curse by choice.
Yep.
All right. Tillium says, with what I have heard in regards to the wishes from Maxwell Lord, they also had conditions in Wonder Woman 84. I mean,
Yes.
they did, but then once everybody in the world pretty much renounced their wishes, everything went back to normal. And it made sense because all the consequences that came were wished away.
Were also undone because it was sort of like if the wish is refused, then whatever was taken to pay for it also must be returned.
My question is that remember he did renounce his wish as far as he's on the Dreamstone. So did the Dreamstone go back on his desk?
I think so. I think that's the only way it could possibly make sense.
If for Cheetah or for Barbara to get a hold of it again, keep it.
Guess who's back? Back again.
That's the only I could see if they make a third one, if they bring her back. But then knowing DC, they like to have one villain and they're per movie, and then they don't show up forever again.
Well, the problem is this movie really could have benefited from just having the one villain. And I think if they had Barbara's wish happen closer to the end of the movie, and then she pulled Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman at the end of the movie, and she was like, "Oh, you were expecting that my powers would be gone, but they're not," kind of thing. And then they set her up as maybe either the main villain or a side villain in the next one, and teamed up with Cersei in the next one. That would be a really good way for for Wonder Woman 3 to work.
I think I disagree because I really liked the slow transition that Barbara took, because she didn't just instantly become it. She had to merge.
Right.
In,
no, that's
realized I like me like this, and I do not want to change back, which is why she teamed up with Maxwell Lord.
But you could have done that. You could have done the same thing and kind of spaced it out better so that she was a interesting side character, but not really a villain yet. I think that would have worked, and I think the main reason why Cheetah was in the movie was so that Diana would have somebody to fight in the in the third act, which honestly you could have done without. And once again, I think if Patty wants to do a superhero movie where there is no big third act slugfest, then just let her do it. Have you learned nothing from the first one? The one complaint that almost everyone had about the about the first Wonder Woman was they were setting up this really interesting thing of like Ares doesn't cause war, he just sort of is a bug in everyone's ear about it, and therefore killing him isn't going to do anything. And yet somehow, even so, there had to be the big third act slugfest with Ares because reasons. And everyone complained about that. So why would you insist that there needs to be a villain for Diana to have a punch out with?
I feel like that. I don't know. That's just typically how it goes. Either that or giant portals. Haven't we been watching the same superhero movies? It's either giant portals or big fight. You have to choose, Dalton.
Well,
would
or
you rather
both.
a big portal? Would you rather a big portal?
There is the or both option there. It is often both big portal and giant fight.
I mean, if it's
I
got to
like
be a
having
giant
both,
fight,
but-
if it's got to be a giant slugfest in a Wonder Woman movie, I want it to be Giganta. I don't want it to be Ares. I want Giganta in Wonder Woman.
Honestly, I
Even
think
better for the
I
third.
think my biggest problem with the Ares fight is they've now wasted Ares, so he can't come back again.
That's true. They kind of pulled the early
Mhm.
mistakes of the MCU movies, where they have a villain, and then the villain's dead, and you can't use them again.
Well, it also
Just-
kind of annoys
just
me
kinda-
that all of the Olympian deities apparently are dead already, and it's like, but that half of the fun of Wonder Woman is the fact that she can get roped into basically the politics of Olympus half the time because she's
Right.
quasi family for them.
Dalton, I got one for you. They'll set you off.
Let's
Oh,
hear
boy.
it.
Chinese communist propaganda. They chose a young DJT, Donald Trump lookalike, to be the villain, and then detailed his character with strawman arguments that bear no relevance to the crisis at hand.
Oh, for
Typical
fuck's sake!
two tricks, and like all things cheap, it was made in China.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
God.
Maxwell Lord was not a Trump allegory, first off, and second off,
Nope.
this movie had no more to do with China than any other movie. It probably
Mulan
also had no
Mulan was
less
China.
to do with China than every other movie, but there was no major Chinese connection or anything. As much as the Chinese Communist Party can promptly and fervently go fuck themselves, and I think we're all in agreement as far as that is concerned. There is no evidence that China had any more sway over this movie than every other movie ever made.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right.
All right, Mr. Keyboard Pecker, mute yourself. Every single time. Fear the Young says, "You just don't like the movies with strong female lead." Replied every dimwit on Twitter. No,
Oh my
no, no.
God! If I have to read that one more time, my God.
Okay,
No,
does
I want to say
does everyone not remember everyone loving the first movie?
I did. I saw it multiple times.
Yeah,
I loved it.
criticisms directed at this movie for reasons of writing, pacing, structure, and so on, like I've done throughout this stream so far, are not criticisms of women as a whole. And even if there were problems with Diana's character, and people pointed out those problems with her character, criticizing a woman is not tantamount to criticizing femininity, womanness, or all women. Please
Right.
get this through your head.
We
And
would
just because
be
Carol
just as
Danvers was
hard.
an evil bitch in her movie does not mean that was misogynistic in any way whatsoever.
Right. We would be just as hard and criticizing on, we've been on Batman films or Superman, any, male superhero. I mean, isn't the whole thing to have men and women treated equally? Wouldn't you want a female-led superhero movie to be judged on the same criteria as a male superhero movie?
There's also the point that this movie is actually not receiving that. While it is receiving some hate from the crowd that some of us, some people throw us into,
Yeah.
we're not agreeing with that. We are four guys right here, all in agreement. And Pixel just wrote me, said that he's in agreement too. So that makes 5 of us right now.
to be fair, this guy, he might be a senior citizen and he does not know. He thinks he's talking about Captain Marvel movie. I mean, look how old he is in that photo. So maybe maybe he's just behind. He's on the wrong thread. He's
Yeah, I
Can't
mean,
judge people by age anymore.
No.
there's
Good for
plenty of argument for Captain Marvel to be a feminist propaganda piece, but neither of the Wonder Womans thus far has been a feminist propaganda piece, and thank fuck for that,
Yes.
because it easily could have gone the wrong way, but it didn't.
All right. This person says, agreed. I was disappointed. I spent 2.5 hours sitting there. Why do you sit there 2.5 hours if you didn't like it?
Yeah. Oh, and then they say,
Well,
were they watching on HBO Max? Yeah, you're not even in a movie theater. You can
You
turn
can
off
just
the
turn the
TV.
thing off. It's your own home, your own domicile, your own figurative castle.
I had to pause
You
it
could've
at
just
least
turned it
like
off.
3 times.
Leslie is wrong in this case because I understand you got to use your free 2-week HBO Max subscription, so use it to watch something else. Seriously, you could actually go and watch the original Wonder Woman movie, or you could watch Wonder Woman in the animated films.
Or
Hey,
the classic 70s show.
yeah.
Or
the
watch
Justice
some.
League animated series.
I was just gonna go there. In fact, if there are any Wonder Woman fans in our audience who hasn't for some reason watched the Justice League animated series yet, there's a really great episode that's name I can't remember, wherein Wonder Woman is turned into a pig and by Cersei, obviously, and Batman and Zatanna have to go and defeat Cersei for Diana's sake. It's a really good episode.
Well, I mean, not for people who like Wonder Woman. She's a pig
Well,
the entire
no,
episode.
it is because Cersei is Cersei is the main villain, and they go and consult
At
a
the
bunch of
end,
Olympian deities to solve the problem. So
at the end of the episode, Batman breaks everyone's hearts. I cried
Am I
real
blue?
puppet tears, man. Real
am
puppet.
I blue? And there's tears in my eyes.
Y'all got me wanting to go rewatch the Unlimited series now.
I hate this. These are plebs right here, or these little sheep. Probably wasn't going to watch it anyway, but we're just good enough for me. Simp. That's nice.
Think for yourselves. Engage your frontal
Really?
lobes, you ingrates.
It's not that difficult, y'all. Just turn off social media for 2 hours and go form an opinion based off of your experience.
Some of us can actually maintain our individuality even while using social media.
Well,
so
that's true
I
too,
would
yeah.
involve that as well. Yeah.
So, Bankman, find us one more big, juicy tweet for us to read off, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Right now, one guy just said, he said that they thought the armor was shoehorned and essentially pointless.
Yeah, it kind of was. But find us a juicier one.
Wasn't the armor, was that, I might be wrong, was the armor supposed to be like an Easter egg or something from Kingdom Come or from some Elseworld story? I might be wrong on that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Scrolling.
I'm gonna look
moving right along. Do.
Wonder Woman.
While he does this, I'm going to do this. There we go.
Whoa.
We're going to save it, and once he finds it, we are going to put it on, and we're going to see exactly what he's got for us.
I'm lagging.
Well, the pressure is on, Bankman. All the pressure is on you.
I will say, without being spoilery, one of my favorite bits of this movie was she gets a new power, or it's not a new power, but it's one that hadn't been seen before. And when she discovers that she can do it, it took me back. It gave me that Justice League animated series vibes. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'd say if you haven't seen it, if you have HBO Max, you can watch it on that, or go to a theater, watch it there. It's a good, fun ride. I enjoyed it.
It's like Bankman said. It's campy and happy and fun. You're going to get those sad moments in there, but you're always enjoying yourself watching this movie.
Exactly. And all the movies that everyone loves are from the 80s or campy, like Predator or all kinds of great movies have campy moments. It's not a a black mark against the movie. A little camp can be good sometimes.
Yeah.
Wait for my thing to go.
I think the main reason why the camp might get on some people's nerves is because the script isn't great. Which seems to be my main criticism of the movie is that the script seems stapled together from like 3 different other scripts. And given how long Wonder Woman 1984 was delayed, there was no excuse.
Yeah.
Somebody could have easily gone over the script and been like, okay, let me see if I can improve this while we're waiting on being able to film this.
Well, there's a little camp, there's a little corn, there's a little cheese. It makes a good meal.
There was one I watched. Yeah. There was one I think they were showing here, but
all right, you found us our tweet.
No, I'm going through HBO Max because there was one big thing. There was a promoted tweet by them that had so many people were just upset. It was
we are all hungering for this tweet thing. This is going to have to be something that we're like, oh my gosh, it should send me into a tangent.
Here, I think it's this one.
And if it doesn't, you're fired.
or should we say, as in the vein of Trump allegories, "Ya fired."
You fired.
You're fired. You're fired. Just like that. I should get a little wig, do little videos. And that'll be fun.
Trumplantine.
Trumplanting. It's just stacking up all over the place.
Levels on levels on levels.
This is going to be huge for the entire channel. YouTube is going to shake with how much. You are going to watch this and feel like a winner.
Oh
You're going to be sick of all the win that I'm going to give you.
Tremendous, believe me.
Believe me, it's going to be great, wonderful.
Well, we got some tweets from people asking if she's going to be bisexual in the next movie.
I remember when that was a thing when this one was in production. People were saying, "Oh yeah, she and Cheetah are going to be a couple." I'm just like,
okay, I don't need that, but it makes sense for her to at least lean that way because she was raised on an island of all women.
I get that, but that would also make Diana a furry if that were the case. Her and Cheetah, and
well,
don't know if I want that.
Well, I mean, depending on how much of Cheetah is woman and how much of her is Cheetah, I think that,
Okay.
I think there's a gray area where you could make the argument.
It is time for a debate now. While we're waiting,
It's not. If Cheetah was like full on Zootopia transformed, then maybe, but I don't think she's quite that transformed yet.
You know what? I was saying Batman, but he dresses in a big bat suit. Batman is a furry. It's confirmed.
I mean,
he dresses in a big bat suit, and he wants to yip with a cheetah.
It's a symbol.
Well, I mean,
also his
main squeeze is Catwoman too, so there is that.
Yep.
And Catwoman. Oh my gosh, there's furries all around.
Catwoman was the first cat girl. Oh my god.
His sidekick is named after a bird, so there's that too. He's feathery.
Okay, but wait, Catwoman you're right. Cat girls do not count as furries though. Girls that wear those ears and stuff, they do not count as furries. Thus, Catwoman is taken off from the furry.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Although
they're a subsection.
But now I'm really gonna go watch Justice League now. There was an episode where Batman gets captured by the Injustice League, and he seduces Cheetah to get out of captivity.
You're right. Yes.
So Batman, if he wasn't a furry before, he certainly is now.
Well, here we go.
But we have it.
I have another more offensive one. Yes.
Okay, I'm turning on the screen.
You turned me off? Oh, well, you do it all the time, but how dare you? How dare you?
All right, read it to us.
The King Bee Lives says, Will there be another Native American scout in World War I era Europe throwing a tomahawk with grenade strapped to it? Because apparently inclusivity and hackneyed stereotypes go together like DC and shitty movies. I forget what my question was.
What coherent? I'm looking for the coherence in that statement, and I'm not finding any. My coherence detector is not going ding. You have
I'm
failed.
just looking for where they think their logic is. Were they born without it? I have a head full of fluff, and I still feel like I have more brain cells than this person.
Then we have a chimp, the Bakersfield chimp, says Christian Wiig was horribly cast against type. I'm so deeply glad I did not pay for this movie. The 80s, basically admitted to pirating. Thank you, sir, or ma'am, or primate. I don't know. The 80s
I'm
now.
not gonna get on him for that because I pirated the movie too.
Yeah,
So
the 1980s nostalgia stuff was moderately funny and entertaining for me. But God's sakes, I'm 52 years old, and Gen X millennials will find none of that stuff funny or entertaining.
I'm a millennial. I found it
I'm
entertaining.
sorry, sir, but have you never heard of hipsters? I mean, just go with me. Go with me for a second. Is there a more past-focused generation than our generation in existence? Because I can't find one.
We brought vinyl records back into like an actual thing. Like people were on CDs and MP3s.
And also speaking for myself for a second, thank fuck somebody brought back vinyl. I would have missed vinyl if it didn't come back.
Oh yeah, vinyls are great. No, and I thought Kristen Wiig did great as Cheetah. I liked her as Cheetah.
Whenever she wished to be sexy, somehow it came true.
Yeah.
Even the next day when she slipped out of that skirt she was wearing and she was just walking, she's got a little more.
It reminded me a little bit of She's All That. Speaking of 80s movies,
reminded me of my teenage years when I used to watch movies with girls in tights like that.
Also, while we're on the topic of 80s movies where ostensibly frumpy girls end up looking attractive because they change their hair and their hairstyle and makeup and stuff. It also kind of reminded me a little bit of 16 Candles.
But that dress.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
What's next, Finkman? You gotta give us something.
I'm getting people complaining they couldn't watch the movie that the HBO Max wasn't working.
Oh, I heard about that. Like some HBO Max subscribers were complaining that it would be buffering or that the 4K wasn't working. I heard about that.
Probably because so many people tried to watch it that the system wasn't calibrated for it.
Says, I had a hell of a time with trying to play this on my TV, even signed up for HBO Max via Hulu. As it stands, I'll have to hook up my HDMI to my TV, not the end of the world, but definite first world problem because nothing worse is going on in the world right now. Shocker! Twitter bashing. Can't take these people seriously. Bash everything.
Twitter just, I don't know what happened. I do not understand how people can watch this movie and just hate.
Oh, wow. Mr. Jersey, go back to Jersey and shut the hell up. Saying that Justice League was better than this movie.
What?
Fuck off.
Fuck
off entirely.
That's a big no. Maybe the Snyder Cut will be, but the Whedon cut.
If they only show that cut, nothing else.
This world.
Yeah, if I had to rank the DCEU thus far, I would say number one, definitely Joker. Or not.
But
DCEU,
it's not a part of the DCEU.
The modern slate of DCEU, the modern slate of DC movies. Then probably Aquaman, and then the first Wonder Woman, then Shazam, then this movie, then anything Zack Snyder made is far below.
Well, this person's saying this is the worst DC movie. Green Lantern is great in comparison, so bad. What a waste of talent! Like
one second. I just got a text from Pixel. He says he actually likes the Green Lantern movie. I don't know how.
Okay, I don't
anyway.
mind the Green Lantern movie as much as a lot of people do. I'll grant that.
I think Ryan Reynolds would have actually been a better Guy Gardner, actually, instead of Hal
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah. I've often said that they picked the wrong. The main problem with the Green Lantern movie is they picked the wrong Lantern to do the movie on.
I think the villain was wrong. As far as being a cloud monster, would have been much better. Other than that, the movie was solid for me.
It does have the best after credit scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah,
It was perfect.
All of the supporting characters were perfectly cast. Who they had for Kilowog, who they had for Tomar Ray, all perfectly cast.
Honestly,
if
Sinestro had been the villain and they had Guy Gardner instead of Hal Jordan, that movie would have been amazing.
But Sinestro was there to set up. They wanted him to be a good guy until.
Yeah, but they could have done that with, like, they could have had him be a good guy for the first half of the movie, and then when Parallax shows up, he does basically he does the speech he did at the end during the post-credit scene that we must forge a yellow ring, yada yada yada, and then he could have become he could have been corrupted by the yellow ring, and then become the villain in the later half of the second act and then into the third act. Also, as long as I'm making suggestions for potential Green Lantern movies, have Sinestro and whichever Lantern you end up going with be like a buddy cop duo at first, and then have Sinestro be the corrupt cop. That's the route I think you should go, because the Green Lantern Corps is basically space cops.
Training day in space. That's all you got.
Basically, yeah.
Sinestro, King Kong, God.
All right, Bateman. Do you have our final saucy tweet?
Saucy tweets.
Saucy. We want it nice, and we want some spice in there. We want it to be redonkulous in a bad way.
Still kind of looking, because I'm going from like it's 50-50.
You could switch to Rotten Tomatoes and see if there's a really, really cringy review.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh, one more
That's
review.
true.
Yeah.
Didn't the ratings came down on that like sharply?
Yeah, it started at like 88 and then dropped to 65 on the critic side and like 72 last time I looked on the audience side. So the overall score, because I always add the audience score and the critic score together, is 68.
Oh, Dominic Powell has joined us. We're right near the end, Dominic. Just looking for one last big thing. Go big and then go home. Good evening, everyone. How would you all grade Wonder Woman 1984 after watching it? All right, let's start with below me. How about you, Zach?
I'd say between a 6 and a 7, probably. It's not as good as the first one. I still think the first one is better. But it's way better than you have like the Suicide Squad, or certainly miles above Birds of Prey. Yeah, I'd say probably a 6, 7, somewhere in there. I'm certainly going to watch it again. I enjoyed it.
We're going to go to the other guy with his camera on. Dalton,
okay.
Give us your grading.
Letter grade wise, I'd give it probably like low B-. Number grade wise, I'd say about a 6. It has a lot of problems. Like I said, I've harped on this enough, but the script really could have used several more passes over, and it felt like 3 separate movies all vying for attention, and none of them really getting the chance they should have had to shine, even though all 3 movies that could have been probably would have been good. I'd say it's probably the lowest of the non-Snyderverse DC movies of the current batch, but it's miles above anything that Zack Snyder had anything to do with thus far. So, yeah.
All right, and you, Venkman.
7 out of 10. Like I said,
Yeah.
the music is the big problem. They don't have any 80s music for 80s movies. I would have loved to see more Cheetah than what we saw on the screen. It was a short battle, wasn't really that long. I would have loved to see her
with some light. It was dark.
Well, that's because the CG stuff. So plus, I think a lot of people are not afraid to reveal anything like that because people complain about CG solids. They're afraid to show it, so they figure we'll hide it. But what we saw though was actually good though. I saw, and you can brighten up the screen if you can on your TV. Sometimes you can, and you look at her. Actually, was pretty good. My only complaint is that she didn't have like the cheetah head, like human.
I'm going to agree with my pal Venkman here, and go 7 out of 10 as well. We have Comic Quirks with Jimmy joining us. How do you do? What are you watching? Well, you're watching Puppetine and his panel right here.
Yeah, I would say she's like
Puppetine and his amazing friends, indeed.
In fact,
to quote,
is the puppet master.
As far as Cheetah in this movie though, it's kind of like they're trying to go for what in the comics, but they're like, let's go with was it Chitara from Thundercats?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
with the weird line.
Because they kept her hair. That's how I was like, okay, because I've seen versions in the animated stuff where she actually has a cheetah head. You look in the actual, if anybody's reading Deceased right now, if you're reading this Deceased, that version that Cheetah was basically full cheetah, but stood up and had like a human figure.
Well, what's it called?
I would have gone with something more akin to her design in the Injustice games, because that could have been used to kind of play up the body horror aspect and the heavy price that being like Diana paid.
I just kills me that we'll get a cheetah like this, but we'll never get a Tigra from Marvel that'll be sexy.
Yep, that's the biggest tragedy here.
Okay, Venkman.
It truly is.
Critics.
I have to ask, did you find it?
From Wonder Woman? I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, a bunch of them. Even the critics.
Okay. Give it. What do you have? Do you have a favorite hater?
Favorite, most entertaining.
Well, I was just gonna read through all of them because they're all idiots.
I don't think we should read through all of them.
Well,
find the most wrong-headed, cringiest one and go with that.
There's 289 critics, so it'd take me like an hour.
Look for the ones with the little green splats next to them.
Oh, those ones. Okay, I don't use a site.
They're the bad. They're the bad or negative reviews. So find the most wrong-headed of the rotten reviews and go with it.
Go ahead.
Look, I see one right here. Dennis Schwartz. He's like the second from the bottom on the left. He says, merely escapist entertainment. That's what a movie is supposed to be.
Well, I
mean, in my opinion. I mean, I don't.
Okay, I think escapism is too.
I found the better one. Oh my gosh, the one to the right of that. How does a studio decide that Amazonian feminist warrior princess superheroine should have her entire psychological background, emotional center, raison d'etre, and main moral conflict just be Chris Pine's penis?
Because they established a relationship in the first movie, and she's immortal, so she
she's
can be on the
feminist.
rebound as long as she wants. You moron.
She's not a feminist. She's not a lesbian. God forbid that someone.
She is feminist in the broadest sense of the term of like.
And she's made out of clay, so she's not. She's different. Not
in the Venkman. She's not made out of clay in the movies. That was the lie that Kamala had told her because she didn't want to admit she screwed Zeus.
She has been retconned, hasn't she? Where she's like Zeus's daughter now.
Mm-hmm. This is an important part to mention. Not only did she fall in love with Steve Trevor, we see in photos she went to the Trevor farm. She lived with the Trevors for a good amount of time, it looked like. So she got to be a part of that family. And
Well, that was because of Wish.
no, not that's
changed.
not because
No. Before that, it was just a picture of him. And after she made the wish, it changed. It said Trevor Farm, and the watch started ticking again because he's alive.
No, that picture didn't change. It was her at the Trevor farm. They showed that early on.
Yeah,
No,
it was her alone because she. What we're
Mm-hmm.
saying, Bankman, is she was invested enough in Steve to go and find his family and see how.
No,
his
but that
family
same
was
photo,
getting.
the photo,
Right.
the photo from the watch was just a picture of Steve Trevor. It had nothing. It was from the war. It had nothing to do with the Trevor Farm. It was until after she made the wish, it changed to that Trevor Farm.
I think you're wrong.
No, I think I'm
Yeah,
right.
I don't remember. I
think-
don't remember that.
Because there's also a picture of her standing with an old white woman, and she's like smiling in it. But
That's from the first movie.
That was Etta Candy
Yeah, from the first movie.
from the first movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that threw me off for a second. I was like, oh, maybe that's Steve Trevor's mom or something.
No.
But then after I watched it, I
Yeah,
went back and read, oh, no, it's Etta Candy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed
Alright.
that. All right, give us one more. Let's hear it. Hurt my ears.
Hurt your ears. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's click.
Find the stupidest one, Bankman. Find it.
I have to go on YouTube for that. Oh.
Well, no, but in the context of Rotten Tomatoes, because we all know how wrong-headed critics can be.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of watching Wonder Woman 84, my family and I watched Pixar's Soul Soul for Christmas. Would you guys ever do a retrospective on the DC animated movie universe, starting with the Flashpoint paradox? I'd be interested in that.
Sure.
I'd
have to
start
rewatch them.
before that. I'd start back during the Paul Dini Bruce Timm era, but never mind.
Yeah, but that's not the actual start of the current movie.
Well,
universe
not the current one, but
Did the current one just end?
in my opinion, everything after Paul Dini and Bruce Timm had their falling out is worse than before. That's not to say they're bad. It's just to say that compared to the almost perfect nature of the Paul Dini Bruce Timm DC animated universe, it's not as good.
I agree with that. I can agree with that.
That's fair. That is fair. All right. Do you have it, Doctor?
Hold on, I gotta
This
click
is an
30
important-
more times.
What?
Whoever's clicking like that.
All right.
Like I said,
I don't even have
the one I read was like
the
it's probably the worst one because a lot of them were just saying what we're repeating and saying the music. And just,
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I did
expect
think that was really weird too, because I didn't think about it really until Vinkman brought it up in y'all's other review over on Extreme Movie Show. Is there was no '80s music, and it's like any movie or anything you watch that revolves around the '80s. I mean, you can go look at Stranger Things, and they're going to have '80s music.
Well, I think they were trying to make a movie as though it were from the 80s, not a movie trying to retrospect the 80s.
Okay. See, I think it might have worked out better if they had put in a little bit of that retro.
It very well might have, but I personally didn't miss it. I knew that they were kind of trying to recapture the magic of like the Donner era Supermans and so forth. So it was like,
Hans Zimmer did a good job with them. I liked Hans Zimmer's work.
Wow. Here's a dig at Fantastic Four. Clocking in with 2.5 hour runtime, Wonder Woman 84 feels bloated as it is, with senseless combat sequences, random occurrences, and a new MacGuffin for every act. There shouldn't be 4 Fantastic Four movies better than this.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. And I think
There's
you found
only
it.
one
I think that's
MacGuffin,
it,
sir, and
because
it's the Dreamstone, which it comes from the Sandman, done by Neil Gaiman, so you can fuck right off with that shit. Second of all, I agree there should probably be more good Fantastic Four movies, so I'm not going to really harp on you there. But honestly, if you're this mad at this movie, I want to see your reaction to the rest of the Snyderverse, because, ooh boy. If you think this is as bad as it can get, then Birds of Prey is calling, as is Man of Steel, as is BVS as a Suicide Squad. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed Suicide Squad, but that's another topic.
Well, yeah,
I enjoyed
it
Man of
wasn't
Steel
it
and
wasn't that
BVS.
terrible, but it was still in the bad vein, I think.
All
I
right,
will
and
say, if Suicide Squad ever gets an Ayer cut, like Justice League is getting a Snyder cut, I think it would be a much differently received film. I think it'd be received.
We might see it.
I think that it's in good. I think Suicide Squad as an IP is in really good hands now with James Gunn.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
really, really, really looking forward to that because he seems to be steering into the weird in the same way he did with the Guardians, and that's always steering into the
almost-
weird. In my opinion, is always the right way to go with comic book movies.
It's almost like
Absolutely.
he's trying to make a comic book movie.
Yeah, it's almost as though we shouldn't be ashamed of comic books being comic books, and it's almost as
my
though they're a
God.
valid
Yeah.
art form that need to be
Can he do
considered
that, though?
correctly.
It's almost
Is
like
that
we don't
allowed?
have to have realism in a comic book movie.
Well, okay, realism I don't think is the issue because this is the thing that I absolutely hate about people who harp on realism like it's a sacred tenet of, the world and everything. Oftentimes people who say they're being realistic or defending realism are strawmanning the shit out of reality because their definition of realism is this hyper basic, hyper gritty, hyper dark, miserable thing where everything is like a gray stone cube and nothing wonderful ever happens. Well, I'm sorry, but we live in a world with black holes and quasars and, all sorts of wonderful technology and all sorts of wonderful philosophies and mysticism and what have you. So if your definition of reality is that cynical, you're not being cynical, you're just being nihilistic and refusing to admit you're being a nihilist. That's my 2 cents on the matter. If you're going to use the term realism, then you actually need to make sure you're accurately describing reality, and you're not because that forgoes all the wonderful, beautiful things that reality can offer, like art and music and shit.
Ooh, there's
Well said.
Oh, I hear an excited doctor right there.
the story is just a nightmare of terrible decisions. Wonder Woman 1984 doesn't deserve comparisons to The Dark Knight. It deserves to be spoken of the same breath as Spider-Man 3.
Okay. I mean, I can see a situation where you could consider Spider-Man 3 and Wonder Woman 1984 comparable. At least in terms of like tone and some of the similar problems it had. But Wonder Woman 1984 was much, much better and much better handled than Spider-Man 3.
Seen a lot of angry guys that are leaving these nasty comments. Angry white man.
Are you thinking misogyny back then?
Well, Mr. Rob Hunter says it could be Rob Beatty. We don't know if it's Rob from our show. But
I very much doubt it. I don't think he's a professional critic in his off hours.
Well, it's sad when he said, even Rob pointed out this earlier though. It could be a little conspiracy here because Rob pointed us on our own review earlier on Extreme Movie Show. This person says it's always sad when the highlight of a female-led film are 2 male supporting characters.
Okay, I'll give them that one because Maxwell Lord I think was the best character in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing to say, especially with all the he's a Trump allegory bullshit going around in the outrage sphere. But yeah, Maxwell Lord is actually the most compelling character in the movie.
Yeah.
No, I don't disagree.
Looking at it, I have to agree.
Listen, when it comes to going online and seeing Pedro Pascal write on Twitter, yeah, I don't like anything he says there, but he really has a lot of range. Mm-hmm. Like just comparing this and The Mandalorian and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's really impressive how far he can go afield without making it feel weird.
Exactly. So I just ignore the politics and enjoy the show. That's all you can do.
Wonder Woman 1984 feels written by a committee to appease Twitter hashtag campaigns.
See, there I will disagree because for as much as they could have gone hard in the feminist paint with this movie,
Mhm.
they didn't at all. Like, there's no intersectionality. There's no women are the oppressed class. There's no, equal. There's no wage gap conspiracy theory. There's no one mentions the patriarchy. None of that shit. So
like, there's
That's
some
that,
minor kind of like cat calling in there, but even that, they're just like, no thanks, and they move right along, which is,
which honestly is the appropriate reaction. If you're being solicited by people who are finding you attractive, then just be like,
scene.
No, I'm good.
You keep bringing up the cat call scene, but immediately right after that, the drunk guy tries to get fresh with her, and she wants
no.
idea.
That absolutely. When she kicked his ass, it was right, but the fact was, like, even the homeless guy that she was giving like a meal to before, he's like, "What are you doing?"
I'm talking about the first time I'm talking about the first one, the first attack, where Diana saved him, because the cat calling was before that.
Yeah, but then he actually goes up and like puts his hands on her and tries to like
which
Now,
is a little bit strawmanish, but
I'd like to point out that I saw the other day before I even watched this that someone was saying like, man, I hate the fact that they wrote that where she was getting revenge on the guy who tried to rape her, kicking his ass. They paint her as a villain. She's a hero in my book. I was like,
God! It's the one Captain Marvel deleted scene all over again. The one where she tries to destroy a guy's hand because he.
And see, the whole scene is meant to depict how she's losing her humanity. I think it was brought up earlier. As she gets the power, she loses what made her such a nice person at the beginning.
Yeah,
and then because even when the homeless guy shows up, like you were saying, Puppetine, he's like, "What are you doing?" She even turns and is rude to him. She's less courteous to him. So I don't know. The first time the attack on him was warranted, but the second time, I don't know. It was useful for the story, but yeah.
But at the same time, I can understand, at least in that regard, how there might be a little bit of social justice-y stuff going on, because they vilify catcalling to a ludicrous and cartoonish degree that's just not warranted, for fuck's sake. You're getting complimented. You're getting complimented in a way you probably wouldn't prefer, but you are getting complimented when you're getting catcalled.
Yeah. Plus, you're running to go do something. You have some goal you're running to. Just ignore him and keep going and finish your task. Do what you're supposed to.
And even if you did want to be rude, I can almost guarantee you that if someone catcalled you and you tell the person to go fuck off, they'll probably go fuck off in shame, because people, generally speaking, people want the approval of people they find attractive. And those that don't are fucked in the head and probably have brain damage. That's the only way a human being can manage that, because we're wired to want the desire of people we desire. That's what human sexuality is based on, is being desired by people we find desirable.
I'm just gonna say that this movie, even with things like that, it's still a solid movie that we all can enjoy on some degree.
I will like to point out that this movie is so great, it made me forget about the horrible Baby Yoda. Sorry.
All right, that's the end of it. Well, okay, everybody. While we are about an hour and 38 minutes, so it's a good time to go ahead and call it. We want to thank our woman right up here. Thank you for giving us a good time and a good conversation. Any final thoughts, anybody?
Go see this movie in a theater if you can help it. I saw it on my TV because I have HBO Max, but I imagine seeing it on a big screen probably adds to the just the feel of it, the vibe of the film. Plus, also support your local theater if they're open.
I was thinking about going out to the theater, but then I was sitting there on the couch and I realized, I can't get up, and so I just sat there all day.
Plus, you don't have to worry about catching the bug because you're a puppet. Your organs are fluff.
That too, and I have been due to my size. I have been told that I am about as much of a health risk as a 2-year-old. So people don't care.
Aha. Well, if I had to give one constructive piece of advice to the folks over at Warner Brothers for Wonder Woman 3, and I liked this movie, don't get me wrong, but I had my issues with it. So in future, find someone who can rein in Patty Jenkins a little bit and remember to tell her no on occasion, because I think most of the problems with this movie have to do with Patty Jenkins doing so well in the last one that no one was willing to tell her no and giving her a little bit of George Lucas syndrome. So find somebody who can be a proper editor for Patty Jenkins come next time. And we'll be given a really good movie, I think.
And Venkman, anything else?
Final thoughts. Captain's log. Go see this movie. Don't listen to what people say, because a lot of people liked Napoleon Dynamite, which is a shit movie. And I don't care what you say. It is just horrible. It's stupid. But yet people will say, well, that's better than this movie. Are you
Agreed.
kidding me?
Napoleon Dynamite is shit.
Oh my god. Borat, same thing. Stupid stuff.
Borat, I think, was funnier. I'll defend Borat a little bit.
Give me your tots, man. Give me your tots.
Tina, you fat lard. Come get your dinner.
Gosh.
All right. I'm sorry, Venkman. Continue.
No, I said, don't base your opinions on what people say if you watch. Don't be a sheep. Go make your own decisions. Go watch it. Just because somebody, your favorite YouTuber says, well, I don't like it, or this is a communist or SJW thing, don't believe them. Go watch it yourself. You never know. You could be being indoctrinated through YouTube. People are always worried about indoctrination and all stuff. You don't know unless you go out and actually do your own research. You can't just listen to everybody else. This movie, I enjoyed it. I got I got a puppet to the left of me, and I got a guy in a hat down below me, and then a guy in a cartoon avatar on the left of that. They all enjoyed it. Sure, we admit there's faults. Yes, the music. You probably heard some of the spoilers, but we didn't go too spoily as far as that. But like I said, it's a comic book movie. You're supposed to watch movies. When you watch movies like this, you're watching through the eyes of a child. You shouldn't be looking out there looking for stuff that you're going to want to hate. Because, well, this might have this in there. Well, guess what? Movies have always had politics and all that crap in there. They just didn't really focus on it. Zorro the Game Blade? Yes. But Citizens Kane, there's all these different dramas. Identity politics are in there. It's just not noticeable.
I would disagree. I think in the old days, at least, they tried to draw a distinction between politics and philosophy, and that's my main takeaway of the modern era. There is a fundamental difference between politics and philosophy, and you can do philosophy without ever touching on politics. Wow. Case in point, another great example of a good movie coming out in this day and age, Pixar's Soul. Excellent as far as metaphysics and philosophy are concerned. There's nary a political thing about it, to be perfectly honest.
Continue my point.
There's my cat.
He's telling you to be quiet and let me talk.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
I was interrupted by the man in the hat and the bow tie.
Go ahead.
Well, don't say stupid shit, then.
Wow. You are forever banned from this channel.
Never!
Well, I make that decision.
You're just a puppet.
The puppet man. But...
No, like I said, go watch this movie. People are always going to hate on something. Why? Because drama sells. Hate culture. That's why people are here. Well, a YouTuber guy cares about it. No, he cares about you clicking and watching the video. He gets money through advertisements. He gets just you watching streaming. And sorry, these people, it's their job. It's not a hobby. I don't care what you say.
Well, also, when you're listening to sources like that, you should always consider the argument before you consider the person making the argument. And if the argument is shit and stupid, then that person is wrong. They can still be a valid person and they can still be someone you respect and so on, but even people we respect and value can sometimes be wrong. And therefore we need to focus more on the arguments and not the people.
Go into things with a fresh take or view on things. don't listen to what other people are saying about it, because you might go into like, well, this person says, I don't like this. This is going to be a horrible movie. You go into expecting to be a horrible movie, and sometimes you see things that make it a horrible movie because your mind's in that rational things. My friend Pixel, he watched The Expanse a couple of weeks or a couple months back, the first episode. Hated it. Recently watched it again. Enjoyed it. He said, I don't know why, but I watched it. I saw things and all, and I enjoyed it. So, like I said, go into things blind. Stay off social media. Have a life. Have friends. Go outside. Breathe air.
have good friends like I have here. All
treat
right.
your movies like you would
that-
treat food. Try it out before you decide if you hate it or not.
Yeah.
And
bring some Tums.
I'm just going to say thanks for the memories. And we thank you so much. And we will see you next time. Farewell.
See ya.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.